quality, quantity, regularity, timing. Matt Walker has spoken about this in his book and in his podcast, QQRT. It's the 4 pillars of good sleep.
Quality, quantity,
regularity, timing.
So there was we did a study in San Diego about night shift workers.
Right.
So we talked about the gut microbiome and all those things. But at the same time, we were looking up the circadian rhythm abnormality. So that growth hormone surge was almost lost.
Yeah.
Completely lost. And that is clearly evident on the blood markers that we have been measuring during the study. And I think we are just catching at a very early stage where if we can just follow these patients in 10 years from now, and that is where the starting of this blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, I have a strong feeling that this is the bottom line for everything.
And also disruption, I think, in the circadian cortisol rhythm. Very, very important. Imagine, because your cortisol levels are supposed to fall during sleep. And they're supposed to rise as you wake up.
Around 8 a.m.
Correct. 8 a.m. is the usual peak. Depending again from person to person, may vary according to the particular circadian rhythm of that person. But if your cortisol levels don't fall during sleep, there's ongoing inflammatory cascade, because cortisol is a pro-inflammatory hormone.
Correct.
So it has devastating consequences. I think people have now begun to understand, thanks to educators like Matt Walker and various other people, that sleep is such a crucial aspect of our biology.
Of course.
There's a reason why evolutionarily we have dedicated almost 1/3 of our lives to sleep.
Of course, right? 1/3 of the day.
Yeah, almost 1/3 of our day is dedicated to good sleep.
Good sleep.
Hopefully.
And you are a big proponent of, maintaining a sleep routine.
Yes.
And you have talked repeatedly about not looking at your phone before going to bed.
Yeah.
And the blue light interfering with your retina.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what I know, and you can tell me from a neurological standpoint in terms of how this works.
Sure.
So my understanding is, when you look at the phone, the blue light from the phone goes deep into your retina, stimulates the synaptophysin receptors, and then creates an artificial environment that, hey, this guy is really awake.
Yeah.
And that disrupts the melatonin secretion, and melatonin is a hormone that makes you go to sleep. Practically speaking, it is very difficult to avoid that situation.
I know.
in this wider world, in this very busy world. What will you advise your patients if they are having the sleep problems?
So, a few things that I have found. Most of the things that I suggest to people, I usually try on myself. Because I think it gives me a little more insight into, how it feels. So, one of the things, of course, looking at a screen as far as possible. Look at a dim screen. Try to switch on the red filter on your screen, because that's supposed to be less disruptive to your photoreceptor ganglion cells, which connect to your hypothalamus, suprachiasmatic nucleus, melatonin.
So the red light does not stimulate that much amount of...
Correct. Wavelength of red light is less stimulating. The other thing is, it depends on what activity you're performing. If you're performing something relaxing, like you're watching a movie which is making you relax, that probably is okay. But if you're doing work on your screen, which is, causing anxiety and stress, that probably is going to affect your sleep. So the activity that you're undertaking is also important. So if you're looking at your phone, I can understand. It's very difficult not to look. You're maybe getting messages. I also, in my profession, I constantly am getting messages. I have to keep answering messages, looking at reports and stuff like that. So I usually dim my screen. I try not to get super anxious or excited about what's going on. And usually some calming activity before sleep is beneficial. Meditation. I think breathing is a very underestimated part of our physiology. If you look at breathing, so, we know breathing is automatic. It's involuntary.